have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
My best friend Jasmine was my first friend when I moved to Virginia. And we really proved that, we don't see race. People already judge before they know. So Jasmine's been my friend for 10 years, and she can be my best friend. Well, I was in EDRI softball, and that's a little league, community league. She was in it too. She was doing a backflip, and I was like, ooh, we just became friends. It's just cool after that. And like I said, I love Kayla. I don't see no college.
Question: what do you think people can take away from y'all's friendship?
To love unconditionally. You don't have to match somebody's skin tone so you can relate to them. You don't have to feel the same way they do. Our bond just happened, and our bond happened naturally. Why should color matter? You know what I'm saying? Why does it matter? Why? Because you're white, I can't be your friend when you have the same illness, play the same sport, you like the same thing. You believe red? Yeah, I believe red. I believe red. Okay then, child.
My name is Christina Kanu, and I am the CEO of Christina Kanu Consulting, as well as a student at Clark Atlanta University in the Masters in African American Studies program. So when we're discussing Black Lives Matter and the movement that's currently going on, there's a part that I think that we are glazing over, and I think that's the part of community. Community has been one of the reasons why Black people, we've always been able to survive every trial and tribulation that we've ever been through. When we're looking at how Black people were when we were in Africa, to looking at how Black people were during the Middle Passage, to when we came over throughout the diaspora and during the enslavement of our people. Community has been the reason why we have always survived. And now in 2016, that's a part that's missing. And a part of it is because we've adopted a lot of principles that were never truly African. So we've become very individualistic, meaning that I'm only concerned about me, myself, and I. I'm only concerned about those in my circle. And I think that we need to go back to being very collective, where we are really concerned about children or about the future or about our elders or about those who we may never see. I think that that's a really important place that we need to go back to, and we need to stop glazing over that part in regard to Black Lives Matter. Something else that I think is really significant is the principle of Sankofa, which means to go back and get or to go back and reclaim. So when we're looking at Sankofa, that means that it doesn't matter where I go in life. I'm always going to go back to my place of origin, the place in which I started, and I'm going to want to help those who are coming after me and give them the different lessons or the pearls of wisdom that others gave to me. One of our issues is a lot of the time we always want for someone to be helping us, but we forget about those who are coming after us. Another final component that I want to look at is the importance of buying Black and looking at spending money in Black communities. So what that means is supporting Black business. A lot of the time people make a whole lot of unnecessary excuses such as, well, I don't know where a Black-owned grocery store is, or a Black-owned bank, or Black-owned businesses, I got treated this way or that way or that way. But look at how ignorant that sounds. When we are supporting Black-owned businesses and keeping the Black dollar within the Black community, what that's doing is that's helping prepare a better future for all of the children who are coming back to us, because when you're supporting that Black-owned barber or that Black photographer, they're able to take care of their family, and they're able to give their child and their wife and whoever else a better life. They're able to do those different things, as opposed when we're spending lots and lots and lots and lots and billions of dollars in other communities. So I think that when we're looking at Black Lives Matter, we really need to remember that community has been what has kept Black people strong, and it will be what will take us through the upcoming generations.
My name is Mitchell Brown. In an era today where Black lives don't seem to matter, I'm here today to tell you that they do. Because my life matters. My sister's life matters. My brother's life matters. My parents' life matters. Black lives do matter. I'm here today to tell you 7 quick things to help you if you ever stopped by the police, if you ever questioned by the police, if you ever arrested, or you feel that your rights have been violated. Number 1, you have the right to remain silent. You choose to invoke this right, say so clearly and ambiguously. Number 2, you have the right to say no to a search unless you are arrested. Which brings me to my 3rd point. If you are arrested, you have the right to understand why you are arrested and to know what you are being arrested for. If not, then ask if you are free to leave. Number 4, if you're ever pulled over by the police in your car, find a safe place and go there quickly. Turn your internal lights on, roll your windows down, and have your hands on the steering wheel. This allows for complete transparency on your end of the interaction. Number 5, if you are stopped by the police, you also have the right to an attorney. You cannot afford one will be appointed for you. Don't say anything, don't do anything, don't sign anything without your lawyer present. Number 6, if you feel that your rights have been violated, take down as many notes as you can about the interaction. Write down the officer's name, their badge number, their patrol car number. Write down if there's any witnesses in the area. Write down just as much as you can about the incident. And leads me to my last and final point, number 7. Take the information that you've written down about your incident with the police and file a complaint. File a complaint with the Internal Affairs Division of the police, whether it be your city, your county, or your state. Or go to the Civilian Complaint Review Board if your state or city has one of those. It's very important that you file a report. With these reports, it allows us to make policy changes and legal changes. If you don't report your incident, it's as if it never happened. If you'd like more information about knowing your rights, please visit aclu.org/profiling. There you'll find more in-depth information about your rights. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Stay safe.
The current attitude should be you should know your history, and if you know your history, then you can understand this current state, and then you can start to strategize based on that understanding. You have to know your history. You can't understand the current state of policing unless you understand how policing evolved. And so the first thing is to understand that police evolved from slave patrol, and their goal was to enforce slave codes. So when you talk about police, you're talking about law enforcement in essence. And the duty of a law enforcement officer is to enforce the law. So where the law violates a people and oppresses a people, then the people who are charged with enforcing the law also have to oppress people. So you're talking about policing emerging in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina specifically as slave patrol. Their job was to recover runaway slaves, to make sure there weren't any slave insurrections on the plantation, and to pretty much punish the disobedient or the resistant slaves. And then you go to enforcing black codes, which were designed to subjugate and oppress black people. And then you go to the lynch mobs, and then you go to the organized militia, and then you go to the state-sponsored law enforcement. So the foundation and the history of policing, regardless what people want to say about protecting and serving, yeah, they're supposed to protect and serve. That was their job, but their job was to protect and serve the interest of the slave master and then the ruling class, which meant that you had to control their property, which meant us. The core to Black Lives Matter, the first thing is that we can't allow society to stigmatize a movement. Saying Black Lives Matter, again, is not saying that other lives don't matter. The call for Black Lives Matter has emerged emerged because in American society and in American culture, historically, Black lives have never mattered. It's a matter of the law that has historically, since enslavement, relegated Black people to property and exposed them to endless violence, savage violence and brutality at the hands of state agents and ordinary white people who were given the legal right to dominate Black bodies. So, everybody wants to talk about, oh, all lives matter. All lives have never mattered in this country. And I don't care, how people structure it, all lives have never mattered. And so it's a matter now that we're seeing this resurrection of lynching unarmed Black men and Black boys. And then we're seeing this resurrection of lynching Black women who go to jail and then they come out after having committed quote unquote suicide. If you know history, then you know those are the standard practices of lynching. So Black Lives Matter emerges because people are saying that, in the condition where Black lives are no longer mattering in this 21st century, we have to assert that our lives matter. I think the important thing, though, again, is in any movement, you have to understand the root of your oppression. And I think that sometimes we get confused about what the root of the oppression is. So, for example, with Trayvon Martin, we all ran to the streets and we wanted to see Zimmerman get arrested instead of challenging the Stand Your Ground law. With Tamir Rice, we wanted to see the officer prosecuted, Mike Brown, et cetera, et cetera. So we go after the agents of the state, but we don't understand that, again, the root of our oppression is the state. The root of our oppression is law enforcement, and law enforcement is just carrying out a greater agenda. So we can go outside and protest and sing Kumbaya and chant and stop traffic all day, but until we target the root of oppression and we challenge that root, which is the state, to change the conditions of our oppression, Black men, Black boys, Black women, and Black girls are going to continue to be slaughtered in the street. Our ancestors didn't just die for us to have this symbolic right to go and cast a vote for the lesser of two evils. Our ancestors view voting as that political power, and so they struggled hard to get the right to vote because they viewed that as the answer to changing the conditions of our people. If the candidates that have been selected for us and put forth for us to vote do not represent our interests, then we have a responsibility as a people, and it's really built into this country's Declaration of Independence that doesn't necessarily apply to us, but it says that if your government fails to represent your interests, then you have a responsibility to seek change and transformation within your government. My advice is that if you're going to vote responsibly, do your research and make sure you choose a candidate that's going to truly represent your interest and the interest of your collective. And in the event that that's not present, then stand up and hold your government accountable for making sure that they provide a candidate for you to vote for that will represent your interests. Otherwise, you denigrate the history and the struggle and the deaths of our ancestors.
Dear America, I hate to have to write this open letter to you when my family didn't ask to be a part of you. Snatching my ancestors by the roots, shackles of change, changing our last names, and you were smart to instill fear in the brain. Having us feeling like we're beneath you when we were clothed in gold and 5 silk robes. So it amazes me that today you still view us as slaves when it was on the back of my ancestors you were made. Home of the brave, land of the free, but I guess that only applies to people whose skin is lighter than me. It's 2016 and instead of white hoodies, we getting killed by the police. No reason, just excellence they're trying to seize. And I'm tired of trying to fit into what we helped build. And I'm tired of feeling like being Black ain't when everything we've done made you who you are today. Newsflash, Black excellence is never going away. Raping our women, killing our men, locking our kids in the chain of sin, making America great again. Now everybody's woke to what's been happening. Excuse after excuse, that's why your trigger finger is loose. But if it was us, We hanging by a noose, and it's sad we have to pray to see 18, or you're blessed to see and make it out of your 20s. It's a war outside we ain't safe from, and I'm scared to go outside. I might not make it home. And it's sad I gotta record when it's supposed to be law and order, but what do I expect when the water's still not clean and Flint? Or another mother scrubbing the blood of her son off the ground, or a queen getting shot because she didn't back down from no one. So you think being black is a trend, so everything we do you try to fit in. Now you woke up a sleeping giant, and we not taking no more of your fake smiles or your fake alliances. We taking our crown back, so either get with it or watch it play out, but the time is now.
My dear people, listen up, my America. I'm loving you, but in truth, I'm kind of fearing you. All this blue dropping lives is really tragic. No offense to all the cops. What's the method to this madness? Scrap the fact that they were black, and rather that, just imagine all the families left in pain. Lives with dreams among their passions. Times of change, but not enough. We're like we're heading backwards. We're out of touch when it comes to love. I feel we're out of practice. Why are we holding on to hate, glorifying it like a trophy? Yeah, we said Black Lives Matter. We never said only. Remember, this is America. It should be about the better. Every life you take could be a future doctor, scholar, etc. A man once had a dream, a voice for you, my America. Let's give it to the ones who rest in peace and show them that we remember them. Drop the hashtags. This is beyond social media. Those were names, not just trends. We should honor them by repeating them. Send them a message, nonviolent remember, assuring that that's the key to it. We'll never see perfect, yet we can get closer, even if a smidget. Let's come together while we have each other, because we're all here to stay. Let's move from the old, bring the sun from the rain, and embrace the new times for change.
Dear America.
Dear America.
Dear America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.